Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy TNT. I got some new lighting in my studio, up in the ceiling as well as around the perimeter, which I've had from before, so pretty hyped about that. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm going to walk you through sort of the way I put together and remixed Taya Marquis' record Strive. So let me tell you about the record first. So I met Taya through a friend of ours who's in the PR business, goes by Chrissy, and it's Vocab Communications. She introduced us so I could do some work with Taya on the radio show that I have on Ruckus and Global Party. The Global Party on Ruckus and Dash Radio. So we got to talking. I really liked a lot of her records, as I do with a lot of the guys, the folks I get to work with and the artists. And I said, hey, I love this song. I want to have some fun with it. Are you down to send me some of the stems? And let me see if I can have some fun and make it into a bit of a different groove. So she's like, cool. I'm like, I promise you, I will not take away the essence of the record because I really like the original song. The producer did an amazing job with it. Taya's voice is incredible. And so they did an incredible job with it. So I wanted to give it a bit more of a punchy dance vibe, but at the same token, keep to the essence of the song. You know, it's, to me, when I listen to the song, like I just see a beautiful woman that's walking through a cocktail party, having a drink or on the beach and just enjoying life and just that sense of self-confidence. So I really wanted that to come through the song. So I built in a tropical sort of mix to it, made it a bit of a different vibe, but still wanted to keep that sexiness to that song. So I didn't want the drop to be crazy and, you know, loud party-esque, but I wanted there to be a little bit of a different vibe that, you know, you can move your hips to it and vibe with. So I did that. So I did the whole thing actually, interestingly enough, in Serato Studio, you know, sort of one of the first few editions as it came out. So I'm going to walk you through it in Serato Studio, how I built out some of the beats, the melodies, the drums, the patterns, the build-up, etc. So you can see how I used it and how I built this song together to what I think is a pretty dope remake of it. Taya loves it. She's on board with it, and we released it or are going to release it depending on when I put this video out as an original record in collaboration with her. So hope you guys like it, but let's walk through the work on Serato Studio first. Take a look and we'll be back afterwards. All right, so this is the project file. As you can see down here, I have the master for Strive, which I've cut, sampled, and placed it in different spots based on where I want the drops to go. And I also use some effects, and you can do that within Serato, which is cool, is take on parts of the song, reintroduce them into the file as a separate sample, and then go from there to build out a different, say you want to make it a major versus a minor, or whatever the case. You can do a little manipulation with the audio in different ways. Or you can also, another way, but I didn't really do this, is you can duplicate this file and redo it that way too. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. So then what I did was, so I took her song and I wanted to give it a bit more of a upbeat, up-tempo kind of vibe too, but I didn't want to go too far upbeat with it where it changes the essence, as I've mentioned. Like, to me, it was very important to keep the essence of a record because I really liked the original record a lot. All I wanted to do is add a bit of a dance and a different dance flair to it where you can vibe to, but it's not over the top, popped out and you know, all sorts of crazy drops. So I did add a drop, which I'm going to show you, but what I did with the drop was also just to keep it fluid with the vibe of the record. So first thing I did was, I'm just going to go to the intro beat here, and I just put in a simple percussion pattern to give it a bit of a reggaeton vibe. So listen to this. Sorry, I was on the wrong screen there, so if I close this up here, scroll up to the drum pattern there, so that's the one I created. I used the Big House drum kit, which is a Serato sound. So again, they have a bunch of really cool sounds. This is the one I decided to use for this. I played around with a few of the different drum kits and like this one the most for the sound for this record. So you get the purpose there. So I just kept that as the intro because in case I wanted to use it, the intro beat, because in case I wanted to use it somewhere else in the song, just the beat itself. So then my label for this, I call it the first beat. So then what I did was I played around with a number of different sounds. So I'm going to use this one to show you what I did here. But essentially, it's again from Serato's sound library. Single this out so I can show you what I did with it in a second. And if you scroll over here, that's the name of the sound there. And so, play within key. I played around with, like, I went through the different chord samples to pick the section I like, and then just use the hotkeys. I could just on my keyboard. I didn't even use an external device for this. Again, because I wanted to keep it simple and fresh. So here's the sound that I made with the percussion. And this was all into, like, how am I going to build out this drop? So this was the original idea for the sound that was going to go on the drop. So a couple of quick keys to come up with a sound pattern for that. And then what I did was, I was like, okay, well, now I need that to give it some bass and give it some other depth, some additional depth to it. So then I went down into here and I took the exact same pattern and dumped it into the 808 sub bass. Right? So actually, jumped a little bit ahead there. I was going to show you the drum pattern, but then I mixed it all together with the drum pattern and the 808 sub bass. I also added in an 808 rumble just to give it some real nice low end on a speaker. Right, so again, I slightly changed the pattern on that because I wanted to be more of a rumble. And then, so you put that all together with the two different subs, the big house drum kit and the melody, and then you get this. Oops. Get rid of the other. Okay, so that's there. So now let's move on to the next section here. So I did the intro, the verse beat, and then I went to a build up. So the build up, let's see if this is the right section. Yeah, so the build up, what I did was I kind of took away the big house drum beat, just introduced some claps. I kept in the percussion sound that I used there earlier. I kept in some of the bass rumble just to take out all the sounds and give it a real nice sort of stop to the beat and then work with it. But I've also had, like, what I did with that part is I actually used her vocals to build up with it, so it sounds like this. Then you'll hear as it continues, it builds up more. So I had some risers, obviously, give it some air and some room. And then I built up on the percussion, the snares a little bit. Again, as you sort of would with a build up. I also went into Splice. I took a couple of sounds from Splice, and I took this sound from Splice where I actually added a bit more of a build up with it. So I doubled their build up with my own percussions on top of it and built on top of it. So it kind of continues like this. You hear their snare coming down. So I did that too. So the other roll that I used kind of had a bit of a different ending note to it. So I got rid of that, created my own ending note off of their build up and my build up, so that it just creates a bit of almost like a space of air or just her vocals before it kicks into the main drop. So that was what I did with that. So now let's go into the drop a little bit, because the drop is where I actually had a lot of fun. So the build up and the main beat, after I added the percussion, was sort of the base for the drop. And then her song has a lot of really cool ad libs and one shots and that sort of thing with her vocals, and I really wanted to bring that into the vibe of the drop because I wanted her vocals to be there. But if you listen to her original track, some of those one shots and her ad libs that they put in are a little bit more prominent, whereas I wanted them to be a little more subtle, but I wanted them to be there. I didn't want to lose the essence of them, so I took those and kept them, but I kept them in a manner that it's almost like subtle. Like if you know the song and as you listen to the melody, you'll continue to catch it because it's in the back of your head. Like that's the kind of vibe I wanted to create. So I'll show you the drop. I'm going to play it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just go in and show you the different elements of it. So that was the actual drop. My focus with this is, like I said, I didn't want to take away from the vibe of the record. So I didn't want to turn it into a big, massive drop where it's like you're going off the chain. Like I wanted a drop, but I wanted to be very fluid. I wanted it to have a cool vibe to it. I wanted it to be like, like if you're so like the song is a very powerful message. So for me, it's continuing that powerful message. So I wanted to have, like you think about a girl walking into a cocktail party dressed all fresh. She has a nice like a drink in her hand. I was gonna say margarita, but that's not the drink I was thinking about. Like a glass of wine or sangria, like something nice like that. And she's feeling that sense of confidence. And I wanted to take that vibe and bring it to the drop. So again, it was sexy, it was smooth. It made you move a little bit, got your hips into it, but it didn't sort of overtake the song. So let's go back into the different elements here. So we've seen this before, but I changed around the pattern on the Big House drum kit. So I'm going to solo that out just so you can hear what I did there. So as you can see, I kind of I'll use a lot of the elements of that drum kit in there. So I put in the alternate kick in there to give it more of some girth on the drop, the regular kick. I also to move on into the further part of the scene here, the soft percussion, the claps that continue, and even later I use a lot more of the soft percussion. That's where you sort of hear that. That's not how it sounds. I'm terrible at the sound, but you know what I'm saying here. So listen. So you hear that the soft percussion kicks in. It was a really cool element on the drop that I really like, so I put that in there. So the next section of the scene here, I'll just go through them, a couple of the main ones. So you see what I did here. Okay, so then in here, I just sampled in the intro part of her beat. So the original song, I took the original part of that, sampled it in to have elements of her track playing within the drop itself. So I didn't really change much there because I wanted the essence of the record to be felt throughout the song. So in the underlying tone of the drop, you're always going to hear Taya Marquis' voice, which is really cool and kind of keeps the song together with the elements that I've added in with the drop. So then the same thing here with the same melody and sound that I used earlier. And you'll see, I'm pretty sure it's in this one, if it's not the next scene, I changed it up for the second full bars. Oh, it wasn't in this one, so it's in the next one. I'll show you the next part of the next drop, because I actually changed some effects on the melody there to give it a bit of a cool punch. And you can do a little bit, like, the thing with Savato Studio is that you can put these elements in and you can use their automation tool to bring them into certain parts, take them out of certain parts, which is really cool. So this is a shaker that, again, I got off, like I said, I got some sounds off Splice, so I got this shaker off Splice to add in a little bit of like that rumba feel to it, like to move your hips. And it comes in, was this the shaker? Give me a second. Because you'll notice in the second part of the drop, it picks up a little bit more because the shaker kicks in, which I thought was a really nice little element. I did a lot of filled in a lot of space with white noise, I guess you can call it, in this drop. Like there's a lot of different elements, really low underlying sounds that you don't really hear right at the top of the sound. So let me see if I can find some of them, just so you can see what I did there. Bear with me a second. I'm going to go into this. What was this one? Let me solo this one out. It's probably again at the second part of the drop we're going to hear it. That's where I added some more elements just to give a bit of change in the second 4 bars. So here we go. So again, Serato makes it really easy to take different sounds, add them in, and then add in sort of the same pattern. So you can just sort of copy and paste the pattern off of one sound into the other channel, which made it really easy to do that, because I copied that out through a couple of different times on some different sounds just to give it that feel. So let's see what this sound is here. I think this is one of her ad-libs from the actual track. Yeah. So I'm going to start that one again. I really like this because she has a couple of ad-libs that were, I thought, really cool. They were sexy. They're really about the essence of the background of her song. So it's like this. You can hear more. Yeah, so I used a bunch of her different ad-libs, which I thought was really fun. Like it just, she has such a fun personality. Like when you even talk to her, like if you get a chance to talk to this girl, she's really fun to speak to. So like it's just like all these different ad-libs really speak to her personality. So I did that, and then I'm gonna jump over a little bit because I want to show you something in the second drop. So in the second drop, so I do I play her verse, and then I have a build up which I'm going to show you, and then it goes into the second drop. But the second drop it sounds like this, and I'll show you the elements that I added into it. So you can see what I did there. Like I added, if you heard that, like, so when I go back to the sound here, so you'll look at the screen here, you'll see the delay double up and the beam. So those are the two additional sounds that I use, and I took off the automation for the second drop. I added the automation to give it some of that depth, so it changes the second drop in the way it flows. Because that whole drop, I wanted to make it similar to the vibe, not losing the vibe, but I wanted something different for you as a listener, because I wanted you to give you something different versus what you just heard the first time, so it's not so repetitive. So that's the main crux of the two different drops. So I added in some of the automation on some of the effects there. So I'll show you the interlude and the build up. So the interlude is really cool because she has this part in the song where it breaks out, and I didn't want to take away again from the song, and it was like a cool spot. So I was like, I'm gonna just add a bit of an interlude sound to it. So here's what I did, and then it goes into the build up. So I'll show you this. So if I play that with the master, here's what it sounds like. So here's actually it going into that interlude. Right, so that's where he's at, and then from there I went into the build up. So the same one that I heard from you, that I showed you guys before, and then I'm going to just show you a portion of the song with her vocals in there. There's a second build up so this is what I wanted to show you, the second interlude and build up. So after the second drop, I go into a second interlude. So you'll see my screen here where I go into the interlude, it's called interlude 3. So in here I'm going to show you, then I'll break it down. Okay, I guess I have nothing there. Oh, I must have something on. So, no, I don't. What did I use that for? Something's missing there, right? Okay, in the second build up, I'm going to show you the second build up part now. So this again, I just really made I wanted it to rumble underneath her voice, because again, the original record, I like this piece a lot, so I didn't really want to mess with it too much. So here I just added in. I'm going to show you some bass rumble, the 808 rumble on there, and just one other piece. But let me just play it, and then I'll tell you what it was. Right, so hear that roll in there. So I used the roll again, the one I got from Splice, and then what I did with that is I continued the roll up through her vocals into the tail end of the song. So here's the roll up again. And then I added in a couple of my own percussions to it to give it a bit of a boost there. So then when the whole song, when you hear it, we go into this break here. Oops. We go into this break here. There's a rumble. Hear the roll coming through. So that's how I put together the song. Really, I'm going to show you a couple of quick pieces here. I'll skip a few spots, but I'll show you a couple of quick pieces, and then afterwards, I'll play the actual song so you guys can hear it. Might drop in a couple of videos to kind of show the vibe and what I was envisioning when I was making the song. But so here's the Taya Marquis TNT SOS remix of it's a tropical remix of Taya Marquis song Strive. Hope you enjoy it, man, and hope you guys stream it, download it, share it with your friends. Here we go.
I close my eyes, they're sitting all around me. Fall asleep and they follow me. Believe me, baby, I'm loyalty. Leave me now before you start to bleed. In my brain, they creep into my veins and take the best of me. Heaven, please stop them, don't let them get the best of me. Don't take the best of me, don't take the best of me. Heaven, please stop them, don't let them get the. Isn't that what we all strive for? Isn't that what we all strive for? Isn't that what we all try for? Isn't that what we all try for? Isn't that what we all fight for? Isn't that what we all fight for? Isn't that what we all die for?
So there you have it. So that was the record that I put together. You got a bit of a snippet of the actual song once it's all put together. I had a little bit of video to it to give you some of the essence and the vibe that I was thinking about when I put those different elements into the song. I hope you really liked it. Thank you, Serato Studio, for helping to build such an awesome DAW for us to use. It's a little bit different than some of the stuff I'm used to, but with that being said, it's a cool space. If you're used to Serato as a DJ software, it's really easy to use. And so yeah, worked on another house record too. I'm gonna make a video for that. That one's a totally different vibe, so you'll catch that on the next video. But again, yeah, we'll catch you back. Hope you liked it. If you do, please subscribe to the song on sort of Spotify, on any of the streaming sites. Stream it, enjoy it, show some love to Taya Marquis. She's an incredible artist. My dude, my partner SOS, we spent a lot of time on putting these kind of records together, so we want to make sure that you guys enjoy it and vibe to it. So thank you again, and we'll catch you on the next song. You're gonna like it. It's a dope house record, very different. Anyways, I'll speak to it when you get there. All right, cheers.